wants to work for Okay. All right, we'll call the meeting of the Keizer Parks and Recreation Board to order. It's February 13th at 6 p.m. Okay. Anybody who's not here, raise their hand. All right, it looks like we're missing, what, 2 people? And approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 2024?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, January 2024.
Okay.
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion? All right, let's vote. Everybody who approves of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody who does not approve, say no.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay, with, oh, okay.
I'm sorry, it was David and who was, and Clyde, thank you.
I don't have, oh, it's telling me I got it.
All right, so let's move right along to appearance of interesting citizens and interested. I know it's interested, but you're interesting as well. So Andrea, are you, I mean, do you want,
Come on down.
There are 3 people on different lines, so we usually go down the line. Would you like everybody to come up at once? Okay,
What's the county
perfect.
doing in DC?
So
Yeah.
So this time is for people who want to introduce themselves, talk about anything that is concerning them, talk to the Parks Board, and we will listen. We are here to hear you.
Mostly. What tree?
So one thing, you want to clearly state your name and your city of residence, and then you guys have 5 minutes to talk about what you'd like to talk about.
I'm Charles Stitt. I'm here because we're in Boy Scouts and we're here for a merit badge called Citizenship in the Community.
Okay. And what city do you live in?
Keizer.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Sam Demonu. My name is Sam Demonu. I live here and I'm here to do my badge in citizenship of the community.
Welcome. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Liam Stitt, and I do live in Keizer. And I did have, I am also here to do my merit badge for citizenship in the community. I was actually very interested in coming here in the first place because I've always wanted to be a politician and actually see how a meeting like this works. So I'm very interested, so thank you.
Wait a minute. So what was your first name again?
Liam.
Liam. Have you ever thought about being a youth counselor?
Pardon me?
A youth counselor or a youth liaison to one of the Keizer city committees?
I was told about it. I haven't given it any consideration.
I'm
No.
just saying that this lovely Parks Board is missing the youth component.
I see.
And you look like a fine, upstanding gentleman
Well, thank you.
who may have some interesting insights to our parks.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate that.
You might go online and see about filling out the youth liaison form.
I will consider it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Andrea Stitt, so I'm Liam and Charlie's mom. I've lived here in Keizer for 21 years, and so I'm their committee chair. Hi, David. It's been a long time since I've seen you. And then my husband helped with the big toy. Will Stitt, he was the one that talked to Matt, I think, a long time ago. Or was it Dave? I can't remember. So the kids were really little then when the park was built. So we kind of thought we would do this when we could pick any city council meeting, and the three of us chose this one since they really like the parks and, you know, still go there. So thanks for letting us come up.
Perfect. Thank you for coming up. It's nice to meet all four of you.
I pushed the red button.
All right.
Being here.
All right. Are there any other citizens here who would like to speak to us? All right. Next on the agenda is the strategic plan feedback, additional discussion. Now, I understand that this isn't something that's pressing right now, but we can talk about, you know, our in-depth, but we don't have to go over every single point. I personally looked at this as a great big strategic plan when I filled out the form on my own. But then I went through it again with the lens of parks and, you know, helping citizens be able to get where they want to go, when I went through it for a second time. So, any discussion, any points, anything anybody wants to say when you're going through this?
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
The only thing that I saw on here that I felt like was missing under the transportation and mobility is addressing some of the ADA or accessibility in the parks specifically. Right now, we currently have parks where, for instance, Bob Newton has a step up into, and I think there's but ultimately, there's, the bark chips instead of the pliable that you can wheel a chair over it. So there are some pieces that might be able to be embedded into that to strengthen that and really focus on accessibility in the parks. Other than that, those are the only things that I saw that were missing when I was looking at it with the lens of parks. Yes. Oh, sorry.
Real quick to follow up regarding that, it is in our upcoming fiscal budget to redo Bob Newton Park to include ADA access. So even though it's not listed there, and it's not even listed in the 3 to 5 year plan that we're going to review later tonight, because that doesn't start till the year 25-26, we are currently budgeting for that for this upcoming budget year.
Okay.
Thank you.
David, did you look at this and have anything you wanted to add, or how? All right. Clay? I'm sorry, I've been in the classroom before. I don't mean to call on everybody, even if they don't raise their hand.
About my individual park, we're talking about this point?
No, about the strategic plan. If you saw anything in it that jumped
No.
out, or,
No?
all right. Okay, Mike?
No, thank you. I can't think of anything immediately off the top of my head. I think that the ADA, of course, is something that sticks out really big in my head too, so.
Yep.
I do want to have a focus on making things as accessible as possible for people.
Yes. Nope, I agree. Ben?
Okay, my question is on Claggett Creek Park and the pathway down by the creek, they're supposed to have ADA accessible, but it's not even accessible to people, everybody. I mean, to go along the creek there, it's like steep down and, I mean, you have to go through the trees and everything, and so it doesn't seem like there's a walkway that an everyday person could walk. I know Lisa doesn't have a problem with that because she can go down really steep embankments.
Do you think that could be built onto the 2.4, develop a plan for connecting parks and trails?
Yes.
That might be something
Yes.
that can kind of be
Yes.
beefed up?
Yes,
Yeah, because then that would impact all parks.
yeah, I think it would.
And the other thing that really jumped out at me is the goal to interconnect the parks, you know, to have a safe route between the different parks. And if we had that, I think that we would need less parking spaces, more people would walk or bike to the parks and then enjoy the parks there. But, I mean, other than that, with our population rising, parks are going to be more important than ever. There's less space, empty spaces, and there's going to be more people who need a place to go. So, that, with the strategic plan, I think we need to remember that it's not just about, it's about empty spaces. It's about spaces where people can connect with nature, even though we live in a city. What is it, the 15th largest city in Oregon? Anyway,
Have anything to add?
Matt, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think one of the things that I've brought up before, and I'd like to, you know, it doesn't fit in the strategic things, it's actually something we need to do faster, but making sure that we're getting communication with Chariots to extend the service down to Shamala to connect to Keizer Rapids, particularly with the soccer folks coming in. So, just want to kind of get on people's radar. It's always been a strategic plan, so there's a five-year plan, but it's definitely something we need to do and kind of bring up in a more immediate conversation, because once those fields are being built, we need to make sure we've got connectivity down there.
Yeah, absolutely right. That, I think we should put on the agenda for a meeting sooner rather than later to talk about more fully.
Well, it's really a Chariot thing. I mean, it's not something we necessarily can affect. I've had conversations with folks with Chariots. I had a conversation with Adam Brown about it and stuff like that. It's been a while, but certainly want to sort of.
Well, I just don't know who, I mean, does that mean, Matt, does that mean that you would be the one contacting Chariots, or that was something that we should bring to I mean, I'm not sure how we go about this, the process.
Yeah, I don't really either. I think initially there was a discussion about bringing to Chariots and looking at resources. I mean, it's one of those things, it's actually not just a simpler thing. Hey, we're gonna add part of the route. Like they've got it's the timing, it's all the, you know, how's it gonna impact stops, you know, downstream, upstream, et cetera. So it's kind of a bigger lift, but, yeah, I don't know, maybe Council Fuller, if that's something you can chat with Adam about, kind of get it back on his radar, maybe a little bit, that might be helpful. Because I don't know that really we can affect it, other than the state of the Parks Board may recognize this as a vital connecting resource for the parks. That's probably all the levers we have.
Thank you, Mr. Lawyer. I've written that down to address council.
All right, if there isn't anything else, we can move along to the matching grant program. All right, so, would you like to come up and talk about your matching grant? Hi, Peggy. But you'll do fantastic. You're so good at it.
So I'm Peggy Moore, and I live in Keizer.
Yeah, the kids.
There you go. So I'm Peggy Moore, and I live in Keizer, and I oversee the Peggy and Jerry Moore Community Garden that's in Chalmers Jones Park. And we're asking that you approve a grant for $250 to buy flowers and plants so that we can plant flower beds and hanging baskets. We have everything we need except the plants. We have all the soil, we have the baskets, we have where we want to hang baskets, we have gardeners who have agreed to do the project. And last year you approved a grant for us, and this year we're asking for just a little bit more because prices are up. You know, and I made an agreement with a nursery where we buy most of our plants, and they will give us a 10% discount. And, you know, for $250, that means another $25. So we just try to stretch it, do the best we can. Last year, we got a lot of compliments on the baskets, the flowers. It was a nice flash of color. And not only that, we have to bring pollinators in to pollinate. Most of the plants need to be pollinated, and the more beneficial insects that we bring in, the more successful the garden is. So that's why we're asking for that and trying to improve. And I feel that when I go to the parks in Keizer, I expect them to be well-kept and attractive. So we're part of a park, and so we want to be the same.
All right,
That's my request.
okay. Counselor Kohler?
Thank you, Chair. Peggy, thank you for all the work that you do. There's just a couple of questions, a couple of things I guess I wanted to point out to the rest of the board here is that you don't really, most of the stuff that happens there, you do with donated funds or it comes out of your own pocket. And so the fertilizer you're able to get and some of the things from some other grants from other organizations. And so the work that you're doing is something that we don't see very often from a lot of groups, is that you've picked the things that you want this group to help you with and this group to help you with so that you can accomplish the whole thing.
Right.
And so I just want to compliment you and let the group know that it takes a lot more than just this $250 to run that garden, and you do a great job with it.
Well, thank you. Every project that we have, we try to go to an organization that will help us out and not ask for one organization for everything. And, you know, it's a lot of footwork and a lot of calls and getting that accomplished.
Well, and last year you did so much more with the money that you got from us than you even had set
And
out
we
to do.
came in under budget.
That's what I'm saying.
Might have only been $6 or $7.
Right, but you did so much more than you even asked for.
Yes, yes.
With the same amount of money, and it was
Right.
fantastic.
We enjoy it too. It's a very pleasant place to go to.
Yes. Okay, does anybody else have any questions or any statements? Yes, Robert?
I would like to provide the board an update on the current Parks Matching Grant Program funding available, if
Oh,
I could,
okay.
please. So thus far, we've had one grant approved and finished this year, and so the remainder balance in that particular line item for you guys is $14,568 you still have left to find placement for, and those projects need to be completed in the next 4.5 months by June 30th.
All right.
Thank you.
Very good information. All right. Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion
All right.
to approve the matching grant for $250 for Jerry and Peg Moore Community Garden.
Okay, anybody second?
A second.
Okay,
Which one?
all right. We'll go with Clay.
Yeah.
Clay was the second.
That was the second.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, anybody opposed? All right, it's unanimous.
I from Ann Family.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Peg.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then there's a second item on here about a grant request that is on hold. So we will be dealing with that next meeting. Okay. Now let's tool right along to new old business and go to the parks reports. Okay, Mike?
So I went to both of my parks. Northview, I took the dog to just yesterday and walked through the park, freshly mowed, looked nice. There were some people sitting there, the kids were riding bicycles up and down the sidewalk, and I just took the time to ask how they were feeling about the park and how it looked, and they had nothing but praise for the parks employees and the work that they do out there and how how nice they keep it. So it looked great. Country Glen, I went by, and the only thing I really noticed, everything is looking pretty good there. The only thing was, it looked like there's some mole or gopher holes over between where that exercise equipment is, over by the walking path, and where the kids' toys are. Looked like there might be a few coming up, so just awareness of that. Other than that, I'm guessing it must be fairly dry, because it looked like it was pretty freshly mowed too. And I'm guessing the wetness is usually what keeps you from being able to mow it. Yeah. So other than that, it looks great. Oh, and my wife walked down the path going past the park, and she said the trees are starting to grow. So she said she was feeling like they had grown somewhat. I mean, it's kind of winter right now, but she felt like things were filling in a little bit. So I think it'll look nice back there along there too.
Very good. Clay?
Yeah, I'm at Bear Park fairly regularly. It looks good. Chalmer Jones, I was there this evening, and say about 2 weeks ago. Looks really good. Very busy, especially this time of the evening. Yeah, things look good.
All right. Okay, and Bob is not here. Matt, have you been to Ben Miller or Mike Whittam lately?
No, I haven't been anywhere. I'll make it up and do a special report as soon as they're following my trip.
Well, I was lucky enough, I was walking yesterday and ran into Ben Miller's son and chatted with him a little bit, just about, he was telling me how happy it was to have his dad honored and the whole parks tour go out there, and it was just nice to relive that little moment yesterday, so. Okay, and then does anybody have anything to say about Keizer Rapids Park? All right, I will tell you that the waters have receded. The mud's a little bit slippery. I do not know because I fell down. I know because I checked mud because I've been there before. Everything's looking good. It's been used, well used. I haven't noticed a ton of graffiti. It's just nice to be able to get out and breathe in the fresh air and go make your way to the riverbank. So that's all I have to say. Okay. So, and then section B is the new 3 to 5 year draft plan review. And I am going to call on Robert.
Yes, thank you. You'll have this in front of you. Have you had time to look it over and review it a little bit? I hope.
Yes.
Our team has taken time and really thought out, the next 5 years of what we would call priorities that need done in the parks. This is very similar to the 3 to 5 year plan that we've been working off of since the park fee was created. And this is time for the board to give input if you see anything that you disagree with or have questions on or wonder why it's placed where it is. This is kind of open conversation, and ultimately we just want to make sure everybody's kind of on the same thought moving forward with the next 5 years. So with that, I will hand it back to the board and.
All right. I assume that everybody had a chance to look at this. The one thing that stood out for me is all the different, in the various years, the different ADA compliance pieces. So it's good to see, to make sure that our parks are as accessible as possible for as many people of Keizer as possible. Because there's just going to be more and more people using the parks.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So the replacing the playground, the swing, the first bullet, the ADA swing or the swing, are you gonna change out the bark chips to a solid, ground there? Cause the swing you won't be able to get them there unless they physically carry the individual to the swing, so is that included?
So our plan moving forward, every time we replace a playground is to include the pour in place rubber
Okay.
surfacing.
So Country
Yes.
Glen's
Okay.
will be
All of
replaced?
them.
Okay,
So if you see ADA functions next to, or at the end of the statement, I'll say,
uh-huh,
that
includes
that
that.
means the pour in place, rubber,
okay,
and some other components possibly added, like ADA swings. I was just
Perfect.
introduced to a new ADA merry-go-round today that I would like to start including in some key locations.
Yeah.
That a wheelchair can actually roll onto and be a part of the play with other children. Really cool.
That's super cool.
So things like that, but
Okay.
yes,
thanks for the clarity.
we've had really good luck with the pour and play rubber. I've got a lot of great feedback from folks who utilize it for what it's designed for. And our goal moving forward is to eliminate wood chips,
Great,
for so many reasons.
because that's gonna help us be
Yep,
more compliant in that
Yep.
area. Great.
yep,
No, that's
great question.
That's fantastic. Anybody else have any other,
Can I just ask on Country Glen, is there a placement for, I noticed it's set away from the street, is there a particular place that it's gonna be put?
Not set in stone, but probably back closer to the workout station that's
Okay.
currently there.
Towards
It
that
should
corner.
stay in one of the corners just to keep the field open. I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to go build it out in the middle and then eliminate the ability for that to be used for other activities.
Right,
But just, the community has voiced to us how close that structure is to the street, and so we just wanted to provide a buffer space to get it back a little bit farther away.
no, especially since of all the discussion that we've had about Ben Miller Park
Yep.
and how close it is to the road, and that's nothing compared to Country Glen.
Right.
right.
Question on that workout station, how have those been, they've been getting plenty of use?
I'd say they get used. It's not something you're standing in line to use, but they do get used. I've gotten really good feedback from those who use it. It's not something you come and do your 45-minute workout on. It's usually something that's used by somebody who is on a jog or on a walk, and they stop and they want to add in an additional exercise on their existing loop they're doing. And so, got good feedback on them, but I can't say it's used maybe as much as we were hoping they would be.
Maintenance free?
Very, very low maintenance.
They're used, the ones at Keizer Rapids, when I'm there in the mornings, they're used all the time.
Yep.
I mean, nobody's waiting in line, but somebody might jog by.
Right.
And someone's using it and then
I
use
think
it
they're
on the
used
next
more than we
round.
think. It's just you don't see them because you weren't looking over there for the 5
No.
minutes that they were doing their exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the addition of the picnic shelter. You know, having a picnic and being able to look at the river at Keizer Rapids Park is one of the joys of life.
Yeah.
With picnic structures, hopefully we'll be able to have garbage cans close to them. I know that, you know, a lot of the picnic tables, the garbage cans, with the exception of the really good garbage can, which is right by a picnic table, some of the other garbage, you know, when we ate at the amphitheater, you know, you had to walk a ways to use the trash. So it's just nice to have options to help people keep the parks clean. Because people want to keep the parks clean. They just don't want to.
Under 2728, bullet number 6, it talks about that creek, ADA access that you were bringing up, just so that you can.
Yep. One thing that I was looking at, and I know that it's not really a big ticket item, I know that we really want people to follow the rules at the parks. And I know that the only park is Keizer Rapids that has an off-leash dog area, which makes it difficult for people who don't have a lot of time, or they get off of work and then it's gonna be dark later and they don't wanna, you know, be in the park after dark. That's bad. So they go to the park. Yeah, it would be wonderful if we could find a way to have some small, maybe off-leash fenced areas in a few parks kind of sprinkled throughout the city to let people who follow the rules, you know, because it makes you feel better. I go to a lot of parks. I see a lot of off-leash dogs. I rarely see any that are doing anything horrible. You know, they're under control of their people. It's not a problem. But I know that the majority of those would like to be able to follow the rules, because I know that they're apprehensive when they see people coming. Like, they're afraid they're gonna get yelled at, which I'm not gonna do, but, so. I know that that's not this, but, yes, sorry.
So, just so the board knows, this is a plan, this is not set in stone. We have some wiggle room within this plan to, allow for additions such as a small off-leash dog park, especially if it was unirrigated, small scale, obviously not like the one we have currently, and other projects similar to that in size. We can still be plugging some of those in as we see needs. This plan can move. It's not set in stone just because something's written on 1 year. It doesn't mean it can't be moved to a following year or something can move up. We've had to do that on our current plan as, you're looking at something 5 years down the road and you're like, I think that's gonna be at the end of its life cycle in 5 years, and all of a sudden, year 4, it hit the end of its life cycle and we've had to move it up a year and swap it with something else. So, I'm okay with, if the board wanted to add specifically that language in there. I'm also okay with leaving it out and just knowing that you are the Parks Board, you can bring that conversation forth and we can try to fit those types of projects in when appropriate.
All right. No, that's great.
I do want to add one more thing real quick, if I may.
Yes, of course.
A lot of these items here, we're keeping in mind the Parks Master Plan. So some of the recommendations that the public made to you folks during that process, including, trails, connectivity, ADA compliant, and access, nature, viewing areas. If you notice, there's some talk about nature play in year 28, 29 being added throughout the park system wide. There's also trail, let's see here. I'm not finding it off the top of my head, but I know we've talked about a viewing platform of the river down at Keizer Rapids. And then also better access to the river at various locations, because that was a big one.
There was
People
Wallace
wanted
House and
connection-
Palmacia.
Yes, they
There were
want a
both of
connection
those.
to the river. We have 4 parks that follow the river, and so we want to make sure we're listening to those people and including those thoughts in this plan. And I feel we've done a pretty good job of that.
I would agree with you 100%. I mean, Wallace House, from when I started using it to now, is a very, very different park.
Yes.
It's so much more, the river is accessible, there's so much more usable park now. It's incredible. Does anybody have anything else that they want to say? Counselor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Johnson, the estimated dollar amounts on these, where do you see that fitting in the budget? I mean, the parks fee brings in currently $682,000. Is that where you want that to come from? Because is that kind of what you're thinking about?
Yeah, so this is based on the current budget that we've been operating off of. And these are rough dollar amounts that we feel we could probably fit in per year moving forward, similar to what we've been doing over the last 5 years, assuming no changes are made in the future to that budget, to our parks budget. So, yeah, we have the fee money, we have general fund. So our overall parks budget can roughly pay for the items listed here. Again, it's a rough plan. We have not received exact costs. There could be some inflation costs that might slow the plan down a little bit, but these would be our goals.
Right, so roughly you have about 11, a little over 11 $1,100,000.
Yes.
And personal services, materials and services and capital outlay, is this part of capital outlay, you
Yes.
think? Okay, because in these, for those years, you have budgeted 225,000 according to the budget stuff that we just got the other day from the council.
That number is not accurate, I don't believe.
Okay, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
Because
I will go
these
back.
numbers and the numbers that I got for the long-range planning task force they don't jive.
Yeah, they're not driving, it sounds like. So
Yeah.
I will go back and have a discussion and make sure that you guys have a proper update on that
That
in the
would be
very near
helpful.
future.
Okay,
Not a
thank you.
problem. You betcha.
And Matt, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you. So, is David there tonight or no?
Yes. He has to, David, too.
Oh, David is?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I think this is a very good reflection of, both including the continuing operations and maintenance needs, but also looking to the future. I mean, I think that there's not a lot of new. I think there's definitely some replacement and repair things here. Robert, you brought up the dealing area of Keizer Rapids on 2728 is the last line. That's one of the things that, I agree with. I think it was Lisa or Tanya that was talking about it. Those are things that people very much want. And, once they're done, they're generally fairly easy to maintain. But, we've got some items on here. I mean, that old Ford Ranger, that's 22 years old. I mean, that in government vehicle years, that thing's well beyond dog years at this point. Even that 2007 F-250, I mean, those got a lot of use on them. So what I'll say is I think that there needs to be a little bit of wiggle room, and I think, Robert, you always have a good head on your shoulders when it comes to sort of building those things in as they creep up. I think it's also important to recognize that some of these things could potentially be eligible for grant dollars, correct?
Yes.
So, I think where we can leverage things as necessary to continue doing the good work, and maybe we can speed up a couple projects in 1 year because we're able to leverage some grant money. I expect that probably any grant we do in the foreseeable future will probably be for the soccer fields, but that notwithstanding, I think it's a really good plan. I'm seeing a lot of the things that I remember we got in terms of the survey results from that parts and the survey. I think it's well thought out. I mean, I think David would probably maybe agree when we first saw the original 3 to 5 year plan, it seemed like it was going to take a very, very long time. And I think you nailed it and did a good job. And it's exciting for me to see, the skate park project in 25, 26, right? This is kind of that second layer beyond the original work that we wanted to do. We did that project in, what was it, 2018? I think we did the original project in 2019.
18.
Yeah, so super cool to see that. It's just going to continue to get better, and very, very good project. But again, I think it's just super important, especially as we see how the strategic plan begins to fold out, and as Lisa mentioned earlier in the meeting, particularly around how you're going to start potentially connecting parks together. Where that all kind of fleshes out, and I think most of that stuff's anticipated in the master plan, but again, that's why you bring flexibility into it, so good job, man, thanks.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, I would entertain a motion to give our approval, or our endorsement of this 3 to 5 year priority plan.
Second.
No, somebody has to make the motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve or give our nod to
Seal of approval.
the seal of approval for this 3 to 5 year plan
All right,
for the parks.
okay, do we have a second?
A second?
Okay, any discussion? All right, everybody who agrees with this, please vote yes. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, anybody opposed? All right, it's unanimous with 2 people absent. Okay, let's move right along. Let's see, what's on the next page? Staff report. Robert, you haven't talked enough tonight. How about them turf fields?
Yeah, turf fields are moving along. Benchmark Contracting is planning on starting work, March 1st still, so they are on schedule and, yeah, we're excited to see things get moving down there. Let's see here, what else do we have going on? We've been mowing this week, which is pretty cool to be mowing in February. We went through all that crazy weather and rain and sogginess, and now things are kind of drying out, so we're out trying to get as much grass cut as we could for now. Also, I'd like to mention big toy pickets will be available here very, very soon. We plan on having a fillable application online on the city's website. If anybody's interested in having a family's name added to the big toy picket fence that surrounds the toy, those will be available for $50 each. And there, on the fillable form will be some criteria. You can't have more than 22 letters. That includes spaces, but that fits most people's names. I've done some research and made sure that that's pretty standard for these. So we're gonna keep this application process open for probably about 2 months, and then we will collect all of the orders and place a new order, and staff will install those once we get those back. So again, $50. Please share the word. If some of you may have had, you know, your family down there existing and you want to add new family members, this would be a great time. Maybe that someone else, a child has been born or something along those lines. If you want to keep your family's names together, please let us know, because as we go down and add some new ones, there will be limitations to that. So it's kind of going to be a first come, first serve on request for that. We may have to move your entire family from one location to another location just to make, you know, where was 4, make 6 altogether at that time. So anyways, we're excited to be able to provide that. There's still plenty of locations down there, and we eventually would like to see the entire area filled up with names. So this would be a good start to finishing that off.
Where are those, would that go back into the park as far as just like ongoing repairs, different things like that? Is that where the funds will
money?
be used? Mhm.
So it is gonna cost us $30 some to have them made. So we're not making a lot of money off it. It's pretty much covering staff time to handle the ordering and installation at that point. So there's not like a lot of, we're not doing this as a large fundraiser. We're doing it more of a, just to complete the toy and offer those. We've been receiving multiple emails and phone calls over the last 5 years. Hey, how can I get, you know, a name added? And we've just been politely letting people know that we'll keep your name, but we're not opening that up for orders, you know, but now we are. So here's your shot.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Graffiti's not been too bad lately, thankfully. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, you know, I know oftentimes when the weather's nasty, you know, they kind of go hide, but we have had some sun and so far doing okay. So I appreciate that. I know we got our sign back up at Willamette Manor today.
Okay. Wasn't this morning.
And we've been working on some others. I was informed that one of our signs is missing off the docks right now down at the boat ramp at Keizer Rapids, so I'll be looking into that. Not sure where that went. But yeah, just getting ready for spring, preparing for all kinds of stuff, working on budget, already making phone calls to make sure we have some seasonal employees lined up through a temp agency. So just kind of getting prepped for the end of March and ready to see things come alive again. Thank you.
Okay, so council liaison report. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple interesting tidbits. We have 3 reservoirs, 15 pumps, 127.4 miles of water line in Keizer. Did you know that?
I did, because I
That
read
is,
the
that's
thing
a
last
lot of
night.
water line. Anyway, fun stuff. Couple of questions that I had for Mr. Johnson on the pickets. That this isn't changing any of the existing names that are there. This is just adding to it.
Yes.
What did the original pickets cost? Do you recall?
I want to say it was in the $35, I believe is what we were charging 8 years ago.
Right. And was it a fundraiser at that time too, or?
a small fundraiser. There was a little money left on the table at that time that
Okay.
went towards the project. It could have been a larger fundraiser, but it wasn't, for whatever reason.
And you want to update us a little bit on the pickleball courts, what's going on with those?
So pickleball courts currently are still in plans review. I'm making sure those who are into pickleball are giving us some input, and then we plan on getting that project put out to bid, hopefully in the next few weeks. So Bill and I are working on that really tight window, and we'd like to see that built this summer. So it's coming soon.
Right, because
got
that
a
was
lot of-
part of this last year's budget.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a close time frame if it'll be completed by June 30th. We will
Again, that's
see.
why I wanted to ask about it.
Yep.
Okay, good. So, let's see, other notes that I had here. We have a lot of people using our parks, and there's been some talk about putting cameras and stuff up, and that'll probably be discussion at budget time. So if you have some thoughts about that, please come to budget and talk to us about them. Or if you just want to talk to individual counselors about how your thoughts or your feelings about all that are, that would be appreciated. And then again, remind people to go to the website and hit the button and fill out the 5-year long-range plan. Continue to give your thoughts on that. And lastly, if there's something that you really see that's amiss or in the parks, please let us know. Don't just look at it and go, gosh, I wish somebody would take care of that. But take a second and make a phone call and ask a question or two, and that helps us be able to prepare for what's coming on the rest of the season. So again, we have a lot of hardworking people that work for the city. Probably hiring a few more temps for the summer, and it's pretty exciting to see what all goes on. I'm always amazed at the amount of money that we have and all the things that we get done for the little amount that we do have. So thank you very much.
And I have one question for you.
Just one?
I thought that that survey stopped working at the end of January. Is it still active?
It is.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
And
it
then
is
I'd
still
like to
active.
also second the fact that we have the hardest working people in parks. I mean, this city has wonderful employees. I feel very, very fortunate that I live in such a good city with such good responsive people.
Right, so if you're out in the park somewhere and you see one of our guys out working, be sure and give them a thumbs up or just say hi to them and let them know that you appreciate what they do,
Yep.
except Robert.
They're all nice. They're all really nice.
Usually I'm like, stop, Robert, I need to tell you something.
And he, I can't hear
Did you see that?
I can't hear you.
Go over, let's go over there.
All right.
Thank you for putting up with me, Robert.
All right, other business. So the board member reporting to council on February 20th is Katie, but Katie is not here tonight, so I feel like it's unfair to assign that to her. Does anybody here want to volunteer to report to city council on February 20th? If nobody volunteers, I would love to volunteer, but I don't want to steal anybody else's thunder.
You know what, you go right ahead, Lisa.
All right.
Yeah,
I
Steal
believe,
it.
you'll have to make special effort to be there.
all right, I believe on Tuesday, February 20th, I know where I'm going to be at a lovely city council meeting. You should all come. Okay. Anything else for?
So coming up next month is going to be the annual Keizer Civic Center cleanup. It's going to happen on March 16th, which is Saturday. There will be flyers and stuff going around, but, I mention this every year. It is a project that can be done by skill sets and all ages. Plus, you're going to chew over there on gathering trash, which is great. So, mark on your calendars. You got a little free time on Friday before, which is going up the 15th. recall last year, we filled the debris bin to over the top of the debris bin, which I think is a first. We got pretty close to not being able to close the door, but we completely filled that thing last year. So looking to replicate that and, Robert, start buying trash cans, buddy.
Okay.
So is that March 16th?
Let us see folks out there, and then, I think the mayor said we're gonna put this, on
The 19th is
There
Tuesday.
you go, Lisa.
So Matt, just for clarification, can you give me the date again? And did you say the
Here we go.
Civic Center cleanup? Oh, you have it?
I
We're
have
gonna, we're having a hard time really clearly understanding you, Matt,
Right.
sorry.
So I just got the flyer and it says 14th Annual Keizer Community Center Cleanup, Saturday, March 16th, 2024, 9 AM to 12 PM. And we need 100 volunteers. So please show up at 9. And I believe the mayor said something about cookies.
I'm actually saying show up before 9.
Okay.
We're at 9, right?
Perfect.
We're starting at 9, so, if you wanna get time in, make sure to get there just a little bit earlier. And we always try to do it over an extra photo, so try to get there just a little bit. 9 is the start time.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds good. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, the meeting is adjourned at, I don't know what time it is, 6:51.
My voice is like.